Hello and welcome to CobaltRetroTech. Hope you're having an amazing day. Now, I know you've seen the title of this video. I know this technically isn't retro technology, but hey, this is my channel. I get to do what I want. And today, I'm doing something I've been wanting to do for a few years now, and that's explore a Macintosh. And that's what's in that. Now, my family was never really big with the Apple ecosystem. As a matter of fact, until today, I've never owned any Apple products. And that's primarily because, at least if you go with really new hardware, it's fairly expensive. Now, depending on the era of Apple that you're talking about, the price to performance ratio can be all over the place. However, I got this specific Macintosh not because of the price to performance. I wanted to use it for a specific purpose. See, this machine down here is an Alienware Alpha, and I mean, yes, it's a couple of years newer than this mini Macintosh, or Mac Mini, if you will, but I kind of want to separate my gaming PC, which is that PC, and the PC that I use for music making. See, I write music as Cobalt Heart, and I felt like my file structure between all of my computers is very, very cluttered because I'm having to balance music and video games and general program stuff. So this PC is, excuse me, this Macintosh is not going to be a general purpose machine, although it is going to have some general purpose stuff. It's going to be a music machine. And I know a lot of other people have used Mac-based devices for that kind of purpose, because I keep hearing how well the Macintoshes perform as music boxes. Now, I've attempted to do the same thing that I'm about to do, except under Linux. A couple of different times now I've tried to run Linux on this machine, and I currently run Linux full-time on this machine. This is a custom build that I have yet to show off here on the channel, but this machine, it does run Linux. I've had issues dual booting because Windows bullshittery. The program that I want to use, it's called MuLab, and my entire workflow through, want to say, 3 unofficial albums and 2 official albums, that is 100% in MuLab. I don't want to go and convert all of my current projects that I'm working on to WAV files just so that I can work with a different program that has an entirely different set of default synthesizers. So my goal with this project is to be able to entirely migrate all of my MuLab stuff from this machine to this machine. The Mac, to me, has a few different goals. I want to, A, migrate all of my music stuff to a specific machine, and it'll help me explore macOS. Between this machine running Windows, the laptop I reviewed a little while back, and actually not on that machine, but between the laptop and this machine, I've ran Windows for quite a long time. But yeah, I've been using Windows for a long time, and between all of my computers, I've experimented with Linux a little bit with this machine here, but because of the Windows bullcrap that I keep experiencing trying to dual boot, I keep just using Windows. And then I don't want Windows to touch this machine over here because I want to keep that as purely Linux as possible. And my laptop, I've ended up setting up a dual boot system with that. So I have plenty of experience with Windows, and I have a moderate amount of experience with Linux. Notice how I have 0 experience with macOS. The only stuff that I know about macOS has come from using macOS myself is way back in kindergarten. This is like 2006. My elementary school had Emacs in their computer lab. Not iMacs, Emacs. So that was my first experience with Apple in general, and I guess you could say with PowerPC computing. And I ended up not really liking Apple all of that much because with the kinds of stuff that my school wanted to do with those machines, like a bunch of flash-based things, like one of my favorite things to do around that time when I had access to a school computer is log on to Cool Math Games and play a game called Boombot. And that game ran extremely slowly on an eMac. And once that school migrated to entirely Windows-based PCs, those machines were a lot better at playing Flash games, particularly Boombot. The PowerPC processors in those machines really struggled with playing those Flash games. So that's part of the reason why I've never really gotten into the Apple ecosystem. So that's why I've never really been super interested in Apple products until very recent. I've had a change of heart. I don't care what you use as long as it does what you want to do. Case in point, just barely out of frame here is my Virtual Boy. It's a video game console that I like. If I were to go by popular metric, I'd be absolutely crapping on that thing because of the poor reviews that it has gotten, but I absolutely love it because of what it tried to do and failed. That's how I look at computers now. As long as it does what you want it to do, there's absolutely no reason why you can't use it. There's absolutely no reason why you can't love a machine, even if everybody else hates it. With that long tangent aside, and my personal history with Apple, or lack thereof, I'll go ahead and unwrap it from that envelope. Now, I have opened this machine up. Well, not opened it up, but I have opened it from its packaging, as evident by this envelope. I've already put it on, and I know it works. I know it's been wiped, but I haven't gotten any further from the initial boot up screen. So if we take a look for a moment at this 2012, I believe late 2012 Mac Mini, which, because this is my only Apple product, I will be calling a Macintosh. Because, I mean, technically it is a Macintosh, but it's not a Mac 128K or anything that would traditionally be called a Macintosh. Hold on a second. This bottom plate isn't on right. I could tell because this dot that's supposed to be lined up with, I believe, this closed dot here, it's not lined up with either of them. But I'm not going to be worrying about that right now. Now, because I haven't taken a really deep look into this hardware, I don't know if the specs that the seller on eBay, of which I got this from, was accurate. At the same time, I know at least some parts of it were accurate. I'm looking for 8 gigabytes of RAM in here and a 500 gigabyte hard drive, which I'm pretty sure I'm going to be swapping out with an SSD here soon, but at least the hard drive can get me up and going as long as it's not failed. Yeah, taking a look at the back here, we've got Ethernet, which I'm definitely going to be using. Yes, I'm that kind of guy. I really like hardwiring stuff. We've got Firewire. I believe that's Firewire 800. Okay, there we go. Now I can see it. We've got Ethernet. We've got Firewire. We've got HDMI. We've got DisplayPort. Is that the right terminology there? DisplayPort? I'm pretty sure that's that. And 4 USB ports, which is interesting because this machine down there, if I remember correctly, it's also got a total of 4 USB ports, but it's 2 in the front, 2 in the back. Ooh, one potential downside that I just realized. I'm not sure if this thing has USB 3. So if I use either of my USB hard drives, aside from the fact that they're formatted NTFS, so I'm not even sure if they'll work, they'll probably be a little bit slower than they're supposed to be. But hopefully I can mitigate that a little bit because this computer is going to be intended, or this one over here that I'm pointing to, This one is intended as a network attached storage or a NAS computer. So I should be able to get back some of that speed if this one doesn't have USB 3, which, considering it's a late 2012 model, I'm actually kind of really doubting that it has USB 3 right now. I actually wonder if the FireWire 800 device might actually be faster than the onboard USB storage. Okay, either way, I'm going to be looking into that later. Right now, I just want to boot this thing up and see if it works. Gently put that down. And I'm going to be taking out everything that's specific to this machine. Setting this aside for a moment. And taking out the power supply for the Alienware Alpha. And I will be replacing that power supply with a surprisingly standard power cable. Surprisingly, the Mac Mini uses a very standard kind of power cable plugged straight into its power supply. Now, because Apple has been very known, at least on their mobile phones, to use a very proprietary power connector, I'm honestly a little surprised that Apple didn't do the same thing with the Mac Mini. Gonna go ahead and thread it through the cable management hole on my desk. As I'm setting this computer up for the first time, it is worth noting that, like I've said before, my workflow as of right now is entirely Windows and Linux based. So there's probably, scratch that, definitely going to be growing pains in terms of getting everything to work together properly. So I just grabbed this USB hub just so that I can finish plugging everything in. I should have enough ports for pretty much everything that I want to plug in. I want to plug in a keyboard, mouse. I use a USB hub like this because when recording music, I can often oversaturate the ports that I need to make sure everything is recording properly. The really cool thing about this Alienware Alpha is this thing was designed to have, I believe it's an Xbox 360 controller adapter just sitting here like that. So, up until now, I've been just keeping the mouse dongle in here. Now, unfortunately, the Mac Mini doesn't have a flip spot like this, so I'm going to be taking up one of the USB spots on the actual computer and or the USB hub. I think I'll just put it on the computer itself so I don't have to worry about plugging in the mouse into the computer should the USB hub die, which I really hope won't happen, but things like that have been known to happen. Go ahead and boot this up. If we enhance the audio, we'll hopefully be able to hear the chime. It's raining outside, so you might hear a little bit of background noise. I do apologize. But, yeah. It's first boot up in the apartment. Well, after turning on the display. And the speakers. It does not chime through the speakers, it chimes through its internal speaker, but yeah. What the heck is going on? What? You guys hear that? What the heck's going on? Okay, please don't tell me that my display adapter for this monitor just failed. That's the last thing I need right now. I have no idea why it's doing this. I tested it earlier. It booted up, I swear. Is it at least gonna give me a picture? Okay, that's really annoying. Is it gonna give me a picture? I freaking swear, if that display adapter just failed on me, I'm gonna be mad. And the funny thing is, that's not even the first display adapter to fail on me like this. I've been rolling with this VGA adapter for quite some time because it's a very good monitor and I got it for a very good price, so I don't want to just get rid of it. But if it's not going to play nice with my Macintosh, I am not sure what I'm going to do. I did not expect this. I'm going to go ahead and turn this thing off. So my question right now is, did my display the display adapter just fail as I'm trying to boot up a Macintosh for the first time in this apartment? Or is my Macintosh displaying some kind of weird resolution at the start that this monitor does not support? Okay, that's weird. The Windows machine boots up with it just fine. What the heck is the problem then? This is one of the weirdest modern computer problems I have ever experienced. Alright, hold on. We're going to be taking a trip to the living room so that we can use a different display. I do apologize if the noise is worse out here. It's something weird with my gutter. It makes it sound like a dying hard drive when it's raining. Got it plugged in HDMI. Let's move my switch so I don't accidentally damage things. I have my Mac plugged into the back of my Xbox box. Let's see if this will do anything. Okay. So I think my Mac has a problem. Well, not necessarily a problem. I don't think my Mac displays this boot up sequence in a resolution that my monitor likes, which is really frustrating because part of the Apple experience is this right here. Granted, my camera's making my TV look like crap, but I guess it is what it is. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and plug in a wireless keyboard that I have. Which I hope is Mac compatible, even though it doesn't look like it. So yeah, I'm not going to be speeding this footage up. This is the raw, unadulterated boot up sequence of this Macintosh. Yeah, I'm going to be putting an SSD in here for sure, because this is unbearably slow even for 2012 standards. Well, looks like my wireless keyboard combo works. There's the spinning beach ball. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be putting in an SSD to this thing soon, but right now I just want to get it set up. Come on. Yeah, this is taking way too long to get going. I know this is initial setup and everything, but like, come on, dude. Yeah, there we go. An Apple environment. This is very interesting to me. YouTube. Nope, that's not what I want. Wow, this is slow. I did say that I didn't get the machine for its performance benefits, but still. Holy crap. And yes, I do see that update notification. I'm not focusing on that right now. Hey, there we go. That wasn't too bad. Wow, this system is being very sluggish right now. I blame the hard drive. Hello and welcome to CobaltRetroTech. Wait, hold on a second. Hold on a second. That video has almost 1,000 views? Awesome! Someday. Now this video is going to be a little different because I'm covering something video related rather than hardware. You know what? Loading the video is a bit slow, but performance... See, I got really tired of... The performance isn't actually that bad. Yeah, I think the hard drive is just really slow on this thing. That noise from my gutter is driving me knucking futz, so I'm going to go ahead and move this setup back to my desk. Alright. What? Whoa, okay. Minecraft screensaver time. Cool. If anyone has a good explanation as to why my Windows machine will play nice with my monitor but not my Mac, let me know. Hey! It is some kind of weird display problem. That's a little unfortunate. Well, I didn't want to have to do this, but apparently I am gonna have to do it. I've swapped out my usual monitor for this cheap TV that I've had for a little while, because unfortunately my usual monitor isn't wanting to play ball. But everything's looking pretty good. You know what? This TV is reporting this resolution here at 1366 by 768. I could have sworn that monitor supported that kind of resolution, but I'm not convinced it does, or at least not with how that adapter handles it. Yeah, with how slow this desktop is loading back in after I shut it down, I'm definitely going to need an SSD. As a matter of fact, I might hop over to Walmart in a handful of hours to march over there and grab an SSD, because this kind of performance, even for a 2012 Mac Mini, is not great. I seriously suspect that there's a 5200 RPM drive in here. Identifying a keyboard. immediately right to the shift key on the left side. Keyword design identified, blah, 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 ANSI, yeah. Pretty sure that's it. Okay, updates. Let's try for updates later. I know you usually want to do... Oh man, I keep wanting to do the Windows thing of slap the window up there and call it good. Okay, this feels weird. Oh, that was minimize. Yeah, this performance is not good. What? Safari locked up? Hey, come on. I need my daily dose of CobaltRetroTech. Come on now. Okay. Is it the hard drive? Is it the processor struggling to keep up? See, I don't even know because I don't know. Ooh, Windows key does not work to open anything. That's not frustrating at all. Let's try Spotlight. If I can type. Come on. Whoa, there's the activity monitor. Hold on. Oh, it's opening anyways. Yeah, I've always liked that little bouncy icon that something is starting to launch. Oh dear lord, this is crawlingly slow. Doesn't look like the CPU is being pegged much. Is it CPU that's struggling? Doesn't look like it. It's got maybe 10% CPU usage. That shouldn't be slowing me down. Is it memory? I'm gonna have to double check what that eBay listing said, but I could have sworn it said 8 gigabytes of memory, not 4. Man, my Windows and Linux muscle memory of going to the start bar to search is really gonna screw with me using Mac. Okay, what is the Mac equivalent? Is it System Profiler? Or is that a really... I think that's an ancient term. I think that's more of a PowerPC, like a really old PowerPC term. Yeah, over here in the background, this video still hasn't loaded. Come on, Safari. Yeah, it's struggling. All right. We're looking at a Mac Mini 6,1, a dual-core Intel i5, 2.5 gigahertz, and 4 gigabytes of memory. I'm tempted to steal one of the memory sticks from my Alpha, but my problem then being I probably won't have enough memory for gaming. But I don't think memory is our bottleneck right now, because all I'm trying to do is load a YouTube video, and my system is really, really slow. See, we're only using half of our memory right now. I still can't tell if disk usage is really high or low. See, on Windows, it's really easy for someone like me to tell what the disk usage is like. Oh, I think I just figured out how to tell what's going on here. Data read per second is really slow. Can I? Okay. How did I? Hmm. Okay. What happens if we refresh the page? Because I did. Okay, there we go. It started loading after refreshing the page, so it's probably some kind of sleep, whatever it was doing, error. Okay. Yeah. Oh boy. I can't quite tell. I can't quite tell if this is because of the CPU or the disk activity. But considering the current data read slash write performance, I don't think it's too great. Okay, I keep hitting the Windows button to search. That's gonna bug me for quite some time. System profile or system information. I could take a look at that hard drive. No, that's not what I want. I don't want the freaking. I don't want the wiki page of system information. Come on. Okay, let's see. We got Apple Pay, we got audio, we got Bluetooth, camera, card reader, blah, 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 blah. What I'm interested in is the SATA stuff. There we go. Let's see. We got an Apple hard drive, 500 gigabytes. Yeah, it's a 5400 RPM drive. It doesn't really matter that much how weak or strong the CPU is. That's going to bottleneck a system. So yeah, in a few hours when Walmart opens, I'm just gonna march over there, get an SSD, and install that into the system. But right now, the audio isn't wanting to work. I think it's still muted from earlier. Maybe? Media controls are kind of working. I keep wanting to reach for the Windows key. Jeez. Is there a volume thing? No, that's not what I want. I don't want volume as in file system stuff. I want... No, that's not what I want, and you freaking know it. Okay, there's the sound option. Now, what's going on with my sound? Oh, what? Switch that over here. Show volume and menu bar. Hey, there's the volume thing. Why is that something you have to enable? Why isn't it like this at default? That's so weird. All right, let's test the. There we go. Yeah. Let's go ahead and turn that down a little bit. I mean, it still kind of looks good. There we go. All right. And we got sound working. I didn't expect to have to do some sound troubleshooting. I mean, that's usually a Linux thing, but okay. Or an Xbox game over composite, but you can definitely tell it is fuzz. Yeah, all right. We got YouTube playback. We got web browsing capabilities. I keep wanting to use Arrow Snap when that's not a thing on Mac. Oh man, this went properly full screen. Okay, that's something that might annoy me about Mac. If I want to maximize something, that doesn't necessarily mean I want it to take up the whole thing. But then there's the whole thing with the dock down here. Want to see if my system will be able to run, which I'm pretty sure it will be able to, is MuLab. This is the same program that I use to write music as Cobalt Heart, and I don't want to learn a whole new program, although I might be taking a look at GarageBand because I've heard some good things about that. The Mac exclusive free program, that might be worth a look. Oh my god, this thing really needs an SSD. The more you know. The version of MuLab that I use, version 7, is now considered obsolete version. But I don't care because it does exactly what I wanted to do. Although I am considering getting an upgrade, but I don't exactly want to spend money on that right now. Alright, 7.7.4 OS X. Allow downloads? Yes. Alright, there's the downloads folder. It's currently downloading the macOS version of MuLab. Oh man, that's really gonna mess with me. What's usually Control A to select all with Windows is Command A on Mac. And on my keyboard, because it's a Windows keyboard, for me that's Windows key A. But that's not intuitive to me as a Windows user. That's going to be really interesting to fight with my muscle memory because I use Windows at work, and if I'm learning macOS stuff like this, that's really gonna mess with me. All right, let's go ahead, right click, and copy all of these. Command D does not. No, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, Command Z. Okay, I'm learning. Copy. Control D. Does that do desktop? Alt D. Is there a... Okay, that was a desktop folder. Let's go ahead and make a new folder. MuLab. Alright, let's put that there. I'm not used to folders just going wherever the heck they want. I'm used to folders just showing up in a grid in Windows. Paste. Alright. I love how I can use my knowledge of Windows and Linux to fumble my way around macOS. This is actually kind of cool. I hope it'll just launch. Maybe. Don't worry, I am going to be cleaning up this dock. Do want to launch the program. Alright, it's doing something. I'm used to Windows with the closing buttons up here. I think you can change that because that's going to really bother me. Can't find the app subfolder. You should have the full package. Blah 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 blah. All right. Yeah, I think this is talking something about the quarantine. Make sure that the app file is not in quarantine. Eventually use quarantine remover to free the app file. Show more info. Yes, show me what's going on. I really need to get an SSD for this thing. Holy crap. Oh, it just forward the page. Okay, hold on. Man, I want to see if I can move those stuff. Alright, okay. Quarantine remover readme. Alright, let's look at this real quick. macOS puts every downloaded file into quarantine by default. Fair enough. Sometimes downloaded files can be a bit malicious. When launching an application as in quarantine, Sierra applies something called Gatekeeper Path Randomizer, which makes apps that rely on separate resource files cannot launch normally. In the case of MuLab, this will result in a message, couldn't find app subfolder. Unfortunately, macOS does not allow you to choose whether you want this or not. Security is a good thing, but you are the boss of your computer system, not Apple. Yes, I am the boss of this Mac Mini. They can't tell me what I can and can't run. So if I have read this correctly, all I need to do is launch this app. As soon as it loads, drop a file to remove its quarantine. I'm gonna head and attempt. Well, actually, no, I'll just do MuLab first. Successfully remove the quarantine. Okay. So if I just run the file, it should just work. Keyword being should. Okay, I don't need this running anymore. Okay. Come on. Yes. Granted access. Rec shared library.bundle cannot be opened because the developer cannot be verified. What the heck? I trust this software. I run this software all the time. Okay, it eventually launched. I've run this software a lot on Windows, so I trust it. I paid $80 for this program. Core audio device. I think it's going to be built-in output. Okay. All right, this is a good sign because this is the default view of MuLab. Clips. Where are my MuLab clips? Or is it called something else? Clips? Is it not clips? Rack presets? No. Max presets? No. Samples. Hey, there we go. Audio's working. I know that at least. All right. And now begins the tedious process of trying to figure out how to get my data into something that MuLab on Mac can work with, even though my workflow has entirely been on Windows. I wonder what happens if I just plug in my NTFS drive. And if it doesn't like it, I'm going to be very careful not to format it because I've got a lot of data on there. In typical Windows user fashion, I expected an audible confirmation that a disk was plugged in. But you don't get that on macOS, or at least not in the same way that Windows does. It sees the disk. Oh my lord. I am surprised. I am surprised that this just worked. At least in a read-only capacity. Is this read-only? Get info. Volume created, generated, modified, blah, blah, blah. It sees it as NTFS, 4 terabyte capacity. 2.93 terabytes available. More info. My question is it write only or read only? I think it's read only. I'm surprised it can even read this to begin with. Okay. New plan then. I'm going to take a different hard drive that I have, transfer my Cobalt hard data off of this drive and put it onto that drive, and making sure that the other drive is formatted as, let's see, APFS or some other file system that macOS can read. Alright, I couldn't find the hard drive that I was talking about. The hard drive I was talking about is an external 7200 RPM drive. It is a little bit faster than the drives I was talking about, but I do have this internal hard drive and an external enclosure here. That should be able to work for my intended purposes. Alright, let's clean up the dock real quick. How do I do that? Do I just bam? Yeah, I do just bam. Okay, let's see. That's Safari. I don't need Safari. I need Finder. Okay, there's the hard drive. I've previously used this with an Xbox 360, so that's why this drive looks like the way it does. There's no way to format it via right-click here. Which, by the way, I'm surprised that right-clicking is working on Mac, considering I think right-clicking was not a thing for quite a while, so maybe Apple's actually gotten a clue. This thing is actually formatted for FAT32, so I should just be able to drag and drop my music folder, provided that I don't have any folders. Come on. Minimize the window. Come on, Safari. What the heck is going on? So I should... There we go. Okay. I should be able to just... Okay, is it not gonna... Delete? Shift delete? Control delete. Command delete. Oh, that's doing something. Okay, can I am really stumbling my way through this operating system, aren't I? Alright, what happens if I... Disk utility, there we go, that's a modern Mac thing. APFS, APFS, APFS. I'm not entirely sure what's going on here. Is this like a 2 terabyte hard drive, or is the computer just saying it 3 times? I think it's just saying it 3 times. That's weird. So this is the drive that we want to use. It's a 500 gigabyte hard drive. It's the same speed as the drive that's currently in the Mac Mini. I don't know if it's gonna say it, but probably not. But it is a 5400 RPM drive, so putting this in the Mac Mini would get me nowhere in terms of speed upgrades. I'm just gonna go ahead and Name this music transfer. Not macOS extended. Not APFS. The only thing... Oh, I could do exFAT. Let's do exFAT. That's a little bit more modern file size friendly, even though FAT32 is pretty good. I just don't like the 4 gigabyte file size limit. Right, let's go ahead and erase that, put exFAT on it. That is a file system that all 3 operating systems I use, that being Mac, Windows, and Linux, should be able to read, considering it could format something as exFAT in Windows. Music trends. Okay, let's go ahead and grab the laptop. Hey, wait a second. I need to save for this moment because this is going to be the first CobaltRetroTech video where I run all 3 major operating systems in a single video. What a turbo nerd thing to do. Ubuntu. So we've seen a little bit of Windows, mostly macOS, but now we've got some Linux action going on too. This is my current Ubuntu desktop. I haven't had a chance to do much with Ubuntu on this laptop, but this will be a noble cause. Ooh, I probably shouldn't just unplug drives like that. That's something from Windows that doesn't work. That's something that non-Windows operating systems really struggle with, and that's not having file structures damaged if you don't properly eject a drive. On Windows, that's not really a problem, but on other operating systems, it's a major problem. Well, I don't know how major of a problem it is, but it is a problem. Alright, that's the exFAT drive that we just made. No, I don't want to install updates right now. And there's the 4 terabyte drive. Open this files. Open that with files. If I remember correctly, I think Linux does have proper exFAT support. So I should just be able to just drop that. I should be able to just drop. Okay, that's probably just semantics with, what is it that Ubuntu uses? GNOME? Unity? I think it's GNOME. I think modern Ubuntu uses GNOME. But yeah, I'm copying all of my music project files over to an exFAT drive, which macOS, in theory, should be able to just work with. Like, fully read and write. So I was hoping I could just use the App Store, because I'm trying to get in the habit of just using app stores and repositories on Linux. But apparently I can't exactly do that on Mac. How? I'm clicking. The heck? How do I? Safari is not working properly for me at this exact time. What is it even doing? It's not even doing that much. Alright, let's go ahead and close MuLab. Maybe that'll be part of it. Maybe that's why. What the heck? How did... Okay, you saw that was moving, but now I can't move it with the... What the heck is going on? I swear, if Safari just keeps working after this reboot, I'm gonna be mad. Oh. File transfer is complete. Is this an SSD thing? Is this a processor thing? I can't tell. I'm in nearly uncharted territory here. I don't know if macOS is just crap on older hardware. I don't know if the hard drive's having an issue. I don't know if the CPU is just very underpowered. Now Safari's just working. I don't know what the heck happened. Can any old Mac users out there explain what happened? Because I have no clue what just happened. Firefox. Is it still connected via Wi-Fi? It is connected via Wi-Fi. It should only be Ethernet. Is the Ethernet port even plugged in? It is. It's so weird seeing a FireWire logo on a modern Mac. Well, relatively modern Mac. So I've downloaded the DMG. Now it's just verifying. Doesn't really need to verify, but okay, do your thing. Do your thing, macOS. Oh yeah, that's how you install applications in Mac. That's so incredibly okay. This guy looks like the Mac Keeper logo, and that's making me nervous. I think Firefox is done doing whatever it was doing. So my question then is, how do I get to the app drawer? Well, here's Firefox in the application folder. I think I can just, bam. All right. I know there's an app drawer, I think. Oh, yes, it's called Launchpad. That's this thing. Okay. What's Launchpad do? This looks suspiciously like GNOME. That's something I'll be able to easily get used to, except for the icon for the Launchpad. I think I was using a very out-of-date version of Safari because that was a lot faster. Yeah, this is performing a lot faster. I wonder if it's an older version of Safari, because that was unacceptably slow, and Firefox is just bam. Hello, and welcome to CobaltRetroTech. See, this is the hard drive I was talking about earlier. I don't know where that is. I saw that earlier today. This hard drive right here with the blue bumper. I don't know where that is right now, and that's not an after moving. I don't know where it is. I just don't know where it is because I put it somewhere in my apartment and it's just gone. Okay, system preferences. I gotta remember that it's system preferences and not settings. Dock settings. Could change the size of the dock. That's cool. Scale effect. What does that do? Oh. Okay. Oh, you change the position of the... Oh, that's cool. You know what? I'll leave it there because Ubuntu. That's not what I wanted. Desktop and screensaver. Is that where I can change the position of these buttons? I'm pretty sure there's a way to do that, but I'm not entirely sure. MacOS still does screensavers? I mean, I guess Windows still does screensavers, so... Now this is the wallpaper I've always associated with macOS, and that's because every single eMac had this screensaver set as a screensaver, because those eMacs, they use CRTs, they definitely need screensavers. It isn't quite how I remember it, but that's pretty cool. Now that this is done transferring, I'm going to go ahead and eject this drive. or unmount, I guess, in Linux terms. I'm gonna go ahead and plug it into the Mac. Uh-oh. The USB hub can't supply enough power to that adapter. Okay, I'm gonna have to plug it. Alright, got that cable plugged in. Normally you don't have to unplug the entire machine to get a USB device plugged in, but I didn't want to put that much strain on the power cable and possibly break something. So my plan of action right now is to transfer my music files onto the onboard storage, or I guess I can take a look at them. I guess I don't even have to move them around. I can just open up MuLab and open up one of my project files to see if WAV file playback is just gonna work. So if audio playback and recording is just gonna work, that's significantly easier to set it up than it is on Windows. But we'll see. Run MuLab. Stop it. Stop it. Okay. I probably just need to use the quarantine remover tool to make that not happen again. But if we go ahead, turn this down a little bit because it's probably a bit loud. Okay, sound in general is working. Are there any other audio setup stuff that I need to deal with? Not at this time. So if I go ahead and open a demo, I think there might be some kind of speed bottleneck with my 4 terabyte drive because it's loading stuff a lot faster off of this other drive than it is with my large 4 terabyte drive. Okay. Okay, audio is definitely working. Now if I open up one of my projects, will everything just work? Granted, I do have a couple of Windows-specific VSTs, so I don't expect those to work. But everything else should just work. Let's go ahead and open Learning Fusion. I hope it's able to find most, if not all, of the files. If not, that means that there are a bunch of files that are probably... Yeah, there's a bunch of files that are probably just on a desktop. Everything should be there. Gonna Alt F4. Command F4. Okay. Activity monitor. Go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and close MuLab. I have no idea how to kill a process. Command Alt Escape. Hey! I think that's the Mac equivalent of Control Alt Delete. Yeah, first of all, I want to remove the quarantine of all of these files if I can. No quarantine found. Remove the quarantine. Remove the quarantine. No quarantine found. No found. Okay, it's removing the quarantine of a lot of different files. So this time, no default application. Okay, that's different. Oh, I think I just tried to open all of those files at once. Oops. Let's put all these files on the desktop. It's gonna take a hot second. Okay, maybe this is USB 3. This is going a lot faster than I expected it to. So all my music files are now on my desktop, which is cool. So which means that unquarantined MuLab can go ahead and open one of my projects. Now, I haven't put in my key yet for MuLab, so it's gonna be operating like it does under the free license because I haven't told it that I've bought the program yet. Yeah, let's go ahead and try to load Learning Fusion back up. Let's ignore all those. There's the spinning beach ball of doom. Let's ignore all the VSDs because they're Windows VSDs and that's not going to want to see it. All of the synth tracks are in, but it didn't find any of the wave tracks, which, fair enough, I told it to ignore it. Okay, that's working as intended. I just have to launch the files in a way that will see the wave files. Because if I can get the wave files working, that means I can more easily get recording working, which is my goal. So far, I've gotten just about this far trying to do the same thing on Linux. There. Search there. It should find the stuff. Desktop MuLab files. I think all of those files are actually on the Alienware's desktop. That's nice and convenient. Command Alt Escape. Let's bring that back up again. Let's force quit. DMI port. Whoa, that was quick. See, that's why I need to get an SSD for the Mac. I expected the Alienware to still be booting up, but no, it's got an SSD. I just tried to use my Ergo mouse and it's plugged into the Mac. Okay, let's see. I'm going to go into display settings because I know this TV is capable of 1920 by 1080. It says 1920 by 1080 right there, so I don't know. Maybe the Mac is outputting 1920 by 1080, but for some reason the TV thinks it's 1376 by 768. I could have sworn that the eBay listing said 8 gigabytes. And this video is going to be a pain to edit, but I imagine that macOS regulars are going to find this at least somewhat entertaining. Yeah, during my development of Learning Fusion, I managed to put files all over the freaking place. So I'm not too surprised that things didn't just work. Alright, I've ejected the drive from Windows, and I'm just gonna go ahead and plug this back into my Mac. And do the same thing again, except in reverse. See, this is the view I'd frequently have Windows in. Apparently there's a way to do it with macOS too. You might be thinking to yourself, of course there's a way to do it with macOS. I'm new to macOS. The only exposure I've had to the Mac ecosystem outside of the kindergarten stuff that I mentioned towards the beginning of this video is some minor emulation attempts a long time ago. This computer is not really that powerful, so when macOS had performance issues, oh, you know what? I was doing that emulation stuff before I got an SSD for this computer. So the Alienware Alpha, even at the most basic level, is probably capable of at least somewhat emulating macOS. It was just the whole I had a 7200 RPM hard drive, and sometime in 2020, I realized that that hard drive is extremely slow in this computer. So I went ahead and got an SSD. I attempted to make a video about it, but that didn't work out for some reason. I just lost the steam with that video. But since then, this computer has actually been performing a lot better. All right, there's all of my files. I'll organize that later, but as long as they're all in one relative place, I should be good to go. I'm really, really close to getting it working for just opening something that I've already done. If that doesn't work, I'll just give up and open one of my very recent projects. Alright, let's open a different one. Something that should all be in here. I'd prefer to know whether or not it can open my previous projects. Like obviously it can, but obviously there's something about file structure in Windows that it's making it difficult to fully migrate to a different computer. And I don't think it's necessarily even the fact that it's running a different operating system. I think it's just my file structure was just absolutely crap and not well maintained, which, okay, fair enough. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just plop in a file because I don't want to wait forever for it to just do everything on its own. Okay, let's open MuLab again. Let's open a new project. Let's put in an audio track. Let's open the Cobalt Heart folder. Oh, what's this? Alright, that's my Fight Off the Wolves ending riff there. So if I could just plop that in there. Streamed file. Oh, hell yeah. That MuLab is so much easier to set up on macOS. Granted, it's not that difficult to set it up so where it can play WAV files like that, but it's on Windows you have to download a program called ASIO for All. One or two other drivers might work, but ASIO for All. Install that program and basically cross your fingers and hope it'll work. Now, it's always worked on all the Windows machines that I've worked on so far, but that one driver is exactly why MuLab is nearly impossible to set up correctly on Linux, and that's why I got this machine to begin with. Apparently, as long as you can actually locate the files that you want to use, it just freaking works. No driver download, no faffing about with settings. It just freaking works. If I would have known that, I would have gotten a Mac a long time ago. Granted, back when I got this software, well, I couldn't afford to get this software and a 2012 Mac Mini, because at the time, even the 2012 Mac Minis were still holding on to their value a little bit, if I remember correctly. But yeah, this just working without any poking at it, it's just it's crazy. And the even crazier part is the system is just responding very well. See, with this drive in particular, it takes a good maybe 10 seconds at the most to spin up to start reading data. And I think that's why MuLab is extremely slow on this computer, is I have a lot of my files on this drive, and it's just very slow reading things. So I just open it up. Of course, it's going to open up with iTunes. Oh, of course, it's not iTunes anymore. It's Apple Music. My bad. That shows to you my prior experience with Mac OS. Is I thought it was still called iTunes, and I forgot that iTunes was killed in favor of Apple Music. It shouldn't amuse me as much as it does, but there's just something about playing a WAV file that was generated in Windows that for some reason amuses me that will just work in macOS. I don't know why, it just freaking does. Now, what would be great is if I can figure out why MuLab won't fully open a project that I've already done, like this one here. Can I search through? I can. Okay, I could search through files like that. That file is actually not on the Mac. And there's an audio file. I mean, by all accounts, it should be reading the files. Maybe it's just because that's an old project and things are all over the place about it. Let's try one of the newer ones. I will look into getting all my projects to work properly in the Mac at a later time, because this video is taking long enough to make already, and I don't want to spend another 3 hours just troubleshooting that.